Welcome to our YouTube channel Film Explainia. This video will explain about the movie Blood, which was released in 1988. In which half vampire and half human, Blade becomes a vampire hunter and protects humans. He stops the vampires from taking control of the human race. Let us start. Late around evening time when a pregnant lady named Vanessa is brought to the clinic with a ghastly wound. The specialists say a wild creature of some sort did it and attempt to keep her alive, just for Vanessa to begin conceiving an offspring. After a difficult cycle, a child kid is conceived and removed while Vanessa passes on. Numerous years after the fact, an enticing lady brings an innocent man to a monster cooler, just to shock him with a secret access to an elite dance club. With a secret access to an elite dance club. Of nowhere a couple of drops of blood fall all over, and at the point when he looks into, he tracks down the sprinkler framework pouring down blood out of control in light of the fact that the club's all supporters end up being vampires. The person attempts to escape by slithering on the floor. Be that as it may, he freezes when he sees the spotless feet of a person that makes the party immediately stop. He is Sharp Edge, however the vampires call him Daywalker. He coolly enters the principal dance floor and quickly starts a savage butcher of the animals, utilizing a blend of combative techniques. What's more, guns to take them out without kindness. What's more, guns to take them out without kindness. His weapons are specially crafted with silver on the shots. Furthermore, the edges, which the vampires are feeble to. Subsequent to battling his direction through various animals, Edge is encircled by the club's gatekeepers driven by Quinn. Another furious fight starts. Furthermore, this time Sharp Edge utilizes his sword and his cutting edges to kill a lot of vampires simultaneously. Next he pursues Quinn, nailing him to the wall with stakes and setting him land while sending his respects to ice. So Edge takes off, leaving a consumed Quinn and an extremely befuddled human as the main enduring occupants. Expecting to be dead, the police take Quinn's fresh remaining parts to the clinic for assessment. The specialist picked for this is Karen, who quickly sees there's something odd about the blood test and takes note the congested teeth. During the assessment, Quinn incredibly gets back to life and feeds on both Karen and her colleague. Anyway, Edge enters the mortuary, having proactively anticipated this. He goes after the restored vampire, yet Quinn bounces out of the structure, arrival inside an emergency vehicle prior to taking off. On out, Sharp Edge sees a draining Karen lying on the floor, asking for help. Since the specialist helps him to remember his mother, Cutting Edge gets Karen and brings her with him while he leaps to another rooftop, evading the shots from the approaching police. Cutting Edge shoots a couple shots back and assists Karen with her separated arm before they take off. Shots back and assists Karen with her separated arm before they take off. When they make it to Sharp Edge's hideaway, Karen is oblivious. What's more, Edge's companion Whistler infuses her with a garlic serum to ward off the change. If she turns into a vampire, Whistler reminds Cutting Edge he should kill her. In the meantime, in the gathering room of the place of Erebus, the vampire Shadow Board is holding a gathering. Senior Dragonetti examines Edge's new strength and assaults and reprimands a youthful vampire named Ice for his foolishness in running these clubs. It's then, at that point, uncovered that most vampires accept that they should more or less coincide with the people while keeping up with a strong mystery association like the Mafia, while rebels, for example, Ice accept they ought to rule them through and through. It is additionally settled that there is some shame from unadulterated blood vampires, meaning the individuals who are conceived vampires towards those conceived human and later transformed into vampires. The entire board is unadulterated blood, yet Ice isn't. However, he swears he'll obliterate their former ways one day. The following morning, Edge comes by a companion's shop to get more garlic serum, making sense of his becoming impervious to it. His companion sadly can't do a lot and embraces him as he reminds him to be cautious. Later Karen awakens in a weird room. What's more, is stunned to see a wall loaded with weapons, counting a blade with a stunt handle. At the point when she emerges, she sees Whistler infusing Sharp Edge with a unique serum, which makes his entire body shake. The couple rapidly sees her, and she attempts to take off. Anyway, Whistler and Cutting Edge right away block her way and guarantee her they are partners. Whistler is Cutting Edge's tutor and weapons expert. Together they battle against all vampire kind with silver projectiles, UV lights, and garlic. They can't go to the police with this in light of the fact that the vampires have paid them off. Presently they believe that she should leave, However, first Whistler gives Karen a weapon known as the Vampire Danger so she can safeguard herself from the vampires that will without a doubt come later her for knowing her mysterious. In the interim, Dragonetti visits Ice to chasten him for with nothing to do and assets exploring antiquated vampire legends that are presumably junk, slapping him for it. Anyway, Ice remains unbothered. At the point when she shows up at her structure, Karen becomes dubious of anybody she sees, particularly individuals with abnormal tattoos on their necks. She finds official Krieger holding up in her loft, and at first he imagines he is here since she left the emergency clinic without leaving a proclamation. In any case, abruptly he goes after her as he uncovers he is a recognizable person who serves vampires and following quite a while of administration may get compensated by being transformed into a vampire. Edge unexpectedly appears, realizing this would occur since he has been involving Karen as law. He thrashes the cop and shows Karen the tattoo on the official's neck prior to reporting they utilize him to find Ice. Then they really look at Krieger's vehicle and find the truck brimming with blood sacks, so Edge takes out his weapon to request a clarification. Karen stops him prior to beginning bedlam in the city. What's more, Krieg will take off. Cutting Edge chooses to stand by in a vehicle outside for Krieger to show up once more and Karen reports she is remaining with him on the grounds that she needs to track down a fix. At the point when dusks, Krieger comes to get his vehicle, and Edge quickly starts pursuing him through the city. At last they come to a dance club made due by vampires, and when they attempt to get inside, a gatekeeper expects to stop them, however Cutting Edge just whips him. Inside the club, Edge thumps more monitors until Krieger informs him regarding a covered-up entrance in the cooler that takes him to confidential document. In the wake of sending Krieger away with a message for Ice, Cutting Edge and Karen check the spot and run over a sickening vampire known as Pearl, who is responsible for the vampire's records what's more, frameworks. In the interim, Ice figures out how to wrap up the interpretation of the antiquated texts. Krieger shows up to caution him about Cutting Edge, however Ice kills him and offers him with his better half. Then, at that point, he orders Quinn to catch Cutting Edge alive. Back to Pearl, at first he would rather not coordinate, however at that point Karen starts consuming him with an UV light also. Pearl rapidly starts spilling everything. Ice is wanting to gather a blood god named La Magra. Cutting Edge takes a hard drive with the data, and Karen completes the process of killing Pearl with the light. Then Edge utilizes an extraordinary hazardous splash to explode an entryway, behind which they find the antiquated vampire book of scriptures. Out of nowhere Cutting Edge hears a commotion and tracks down a terrified young lady, however when he attempts to help her, she uncovers herself to be a vampire and assaults him. Quinn shows up with more monitors and another battle begins during which Sharp Edge gets attached to a section, and Quinn takes the risk to cut him in vengeance. One of the vampires snatches Edge's blade, just to lose his hand to the snare in the handle. At that point Sharp Edge uncovers he has been wearing an earpiece in the event that he wanted assistance what's more, the wall close by detonates, uncovering Whistler. In the wake of trading a couple of additional shots and punchings, Cutting Edge, Whistler, and Karen run down a passage right before a bomb Whistler left behind detonates. The burrow takes them to the metro rails, and keeping in mind that the train cruises by, Quinn hops on Edge to begin another battle. While Whistler escapes through a sewer opening, Edge pushes Quinn against the train to cause him to lose a portion of his face and a hand. Karen gives him his blade back, however this main panics Quinn away. There are more vampires coming, so Edge gets Karen and they escape by bouncing on the train. Inside, Sharp Edge infuses himself with a blood serum, and Karen starts thinking he is a vampire. At the point when they come to the safe house, Whistler clears up for Karen that Sharp Edge's mom had been nibbled while she was pregnant and passed on later labor. He had been a lost youngster in the city at the point when Whistler tracked down him and nearly killed him, yet, he understood he was definitely not a genuine vampire and chosen to embrace him. Cutting Edge is half vampire half human, which permits him to have specific capacities like strength and recovery yet he can in any case stroll under the sun. The serum he takes forestalls him from fostering a requirement for drinking blood. In the interim Ice and his gathering cover themselves with sunscreen and caps to bring Dragonetti to a dawn, taking his teeth prior to letting the sun kill him immediately. Thereafter Ice presents the teeth to the remainder of the Shadow Board and requests 12 volunteers. Toward the beginning of the day, Karen chooses to take Whistler's exploration to work on a super durable fix with cutting-edge serum as a base. Furthermore, her most memorable outcome makes vampire blood detonate. After Karen takes an example of his blood, Cutting Edge passes on to purchase more elements for his serum, and Whistler keeps an eye on Karen's injuries, saying she as it were has the vampire is holding a young child as a safeguard, so Sharp Edge wants to go after him and offers a detente. However, Cutting Edge realizes Ice needs to bring the blood god back and is against it. He takes out his firearm, furthermore, shoots, yet Ice tosses the young lady into traffic, furthermore, takes off. Edge must choose the option to save the young lady first, losing his prey. At the hideaway, Karen figures out how to make a legitimate relieving serum that she quickly infuses herself with. At that point Ice and his men show up and they beat up Whistler prior to leaving with a seized Karen. At the point when Edge returns, he is crushed to view as Whistler's withering body. Whistler lets him know he took a gander at the hard drive and makes sense of Ice's arrangements, saying the ceremonial necessitates the blood of a Daywalker like Cutting Edge. He likewise makes reference to he would rather not be a vampire, so Sharp Edge regards his desires and leaves him with a weapon to end things for himself. A short time later Edge tracks down an insulting video from Ice, inquiring him to come track down him and giving him the location. Blasted with misery, Sharp Edge arms himself up with silver and the new serum prior to passing on to find Ice. Minutes after the fact, Sharp Edge breaks into Ice's base camp utilizing a bicycle. On the primary floor, he shoots each watchman that actually thinks about holding him up gracefully. On the following one, he battles hand-to-hand with two vampires master in hand-to-hand fighting. However, in the wake of trading a couple of hits, Cutting Edge infuses them with the serum and makes them detonate. At the point when he at last comes to Ice's room, Sharp Edge tracks down a stunning treat. Vanessa is still alive. She turned into a vampire not long after giving birth. It had been Ice who tore into her. As a matter of fact, what's more, presently she is his special lady. This interruption permits Ice and his gatekeeper to get him from behind and beat him to accommodation. A short time later, Edge and Karen are taken to the Sanctuary of Everlasting Night, and Edge can't guard himself since his body is powerless from thirst. Ice uncovers he has taken the vials with the serum and tosses them to the lower part of the pit before he sends Edge away to his spot to begin the custom. Karen is driven into an opening where she finds his collaborator in a nearly zombie-like state due to his thirst. There likewise are a lot of bones on the floor, so Karen utilizes one to whip the vampire, previously beginning to move into a more healthy place. In the meantime, Edge is attached to an extraordinary contraption for the custom. Furthermore, Vanessa gets improperly near him, saying that he really wants to acknowledge she isn't the mother he recollects. Then the contraption is shut and starts to remove Sharp Edge's blood. Higher up, Ice lines the committee individuals around the sanctuary, and when one of them attempts to stand up to Ice's better half kills him. Cutting Edge's blood starts falling on every one of them and on Ice at the middle. What's more, when lightning raises a ruckus around town, it kills the whole committee and passes their powers to Ice, making him a definitive vampire god. Back to Karen, he tracks down Edge and liberates him from the contraption. However, he is clearly excessively feeble to make do. Karen eliminates her rap and persuades him to drink her blood, which quickly mends him. Furthermore, leaves him in a wild state. At that point Vanessa shows up and Cutting Edge quickly starts battling her, overlooking her when she attempts to convince him to adore his dear mother and killing her. A short time later Edge surges higher up. What's more, when Quinn attempts to stop him, Edge obliterates him right away. Feeling strong thanks to having tipsy genuine blood rather than the serum, Edge starts battling every one of the Watchmen with horrendous wrath, not requiring any weapons to kill them in a matter of seconds. Karen pursues Ice's better half, missing a couple of shots yet making sure to utilize the vampire hazard without a moment to spare to get freed of her. In the wake of recuperating his sword, Cutting Edge battles Ice in an irate sword fight. Sharp Edge figures out how to cut Ice into many pieces, yet Ice's new powers permit him to quickly assemble himself back. They start trading hits once more, however Ice is just too solid and Cutting him sits idle. At that point Cutting Edge sees the serum that fell prior and tosses his sword to recover them. Then he infuses Ice with every one of them at the same time, making him detonate. Eventually, Cutting Edge and Karen get away from the sanctuary, and Karen offers Cutting Edge her fix. Assuring him of his requirement for blood would additionally eliminate his Daywalker powers and he would be incapable to chase vampires. However, he needs to continue to safeguard the city. In a little while, Sharp Edge shows up in Moscow, prepared to kill a vampire that is going to go after a lady.